G'day team, and it's a great morning start, I tell you now. Cover of darkness, we've got a bit of cloud up high, so we're going to see that morning lasting a bit longer for our fishing segment today. And what we're targeting is Australian bass, but not just any bass that's going to be sitting in a dam or impoundment or river or anything like that. In fact, we're going further upstream, because in beyond this tree line here are lots of pools. Now, we haven't had too much water here recently, therefore the fish become landlocked in those small ponds, and I mean small ponds, more like a tiny plunge pool. But what they're doing is they're holding in those little areas around the snags, around the logs. Now, I've armed myself today with a small RMG in a Christmas beetle colour, and I've also got a float with a couple of garden worms. So either way, I'm hoping for a catch. Now, we have moved through here. A good mate of mine, Lukey, was saying, yep, these areas here are holding some good fish. And the reason being for that is they can't get anywhere. They're stuck until the next rain comes and they make their way back upstream or downstream, depending on the time of the year. Let's get into the tree line, get some tips underway, and hopefully catch a few fish. Is tread really, really quietly. Neutral colours, okay? Dark camouflage sort of colours. And that's going to allow us to get in closer to where the fish are. Now I'm going to lay the first one out, which is going to be this lure. And I reckon if I just plop him along the top here, I've had a look up high. There's a ridge of rock and snags there, and they're holding in that little deeper hole. It's only about 3, maybe 4 feet deep. That's where they're going to hide for the cover. This time of the morning, and the beauty of the cloud cover, it gives us a longer period of when the fish could bite. The sun's up high, they're going to shut down and go into the shadows in the shaded water. So we're going to stay down low, and I'm going to flick this up here. See him go. Yeah, it's in the water. They're thinking something's just fallen out of a tree. We've got their attention. Up along those snags. Nice bass. Beautiful fish. Come here, mate. This is what it's about, you know, just working these little holes, these banks, and just being really stealth-like. No bright colours. Bright colours are just going to shut these fish down. Noise, they don't like noise. You've got to think of the surrounds around us here. Dead quiet, just the birds and the kangaroos and probably koalas. But nonetheless, it's quiet, and that's what the fish like. So don't be loud, don't be obnoxious and come out here and just start stomping around, because you won't catch much. But these little holes are ideal wherever you're fishing in your local waters and the upper reaches of rivers and creeks, where it goes to the freshwater areas along that eastern seaboard, all the way down to Victoria. These holes hold bass. Now here's a great tip for you as well. If I let him go here, he's going to shut down all those fish in there. All his mates are going to go, hey, Harry just got caught. I'm not going for that lure that he ate. So I'm going to let him go down a bit further in one of the holes that I've already had a crack at. And that way I'll leave this area still untouched and the next hole. Come with me, mate, I'll take you for a swim. Alrighty. So here's a hole. I walked past earlier, saw a few fish, but we spooked them, so there you go, mate. You can stay here beautifully. That's what it's all about. Nice. So what I'm going to do here is get my lure right up next to that log and give it a wiggle. Like like that. They think something's fallen out of the tree. Bit of a wiggle. Yep, that's what it's done. Oh, what a horse of a fish. Are you serious? Look at the size of this thing. Look at the size of this bass, everyone. Oh my God, he's just lip hooked. He was really worried about hooking that lure up, but that's what it's about. Oh my God, he's just lip hooked. Come here, mate. Gotcha. Gotcha. Hook. See these lures here? They look like a Christmas bug, right? Now, really good tip for you guys back home is when you are fishing these wild areas that are just laden with trees along the banks, don't just cast out and crank it back, okay? Yeah, you might hook up, but visual excitement is, to me, what it's all about. Can you imagine casting that out, a couple of little wibbles on the top, they just go and emulate something falling out of the trees, like a Christmas bug or a cicada. Listen to what nature's telling you. If you can hear the bugs in the trees or there's frogs jumping around, use a weedless frog. Imagine that. Fantastic. Or if there's cicadas, use something like this. A lovely bass. And I'm holding him quite easily in his mouth. He's got some little raspy teeth, nothing too bad, and I'm supporting the weight of his body with my other hand here. So he can just get some beautiful water in his gills. We'll get a couple of shots and let him go. That is a beautiful fish. Over here in Australia, they're called a smallmouth bass. In America, they're called a largemouth bass, and they would eat this. They are absolutely huge fish. But for me, walking these back waters, it's pretty cool. What amazing fish. Come on, mate, we'll go put you in another hole and see if we can pull another one out of here. Come on, buddy. Okay, you ready to go for a swim, my friend? In you go. Straight down to the hole with his other mate. So what I need to do here, if I have my lure sitting way down off the rod tip, 4 feet, it's going to give me distance. I don't want to cast distance. I want to get more accuracy, so I'm going to lift that lure closer to the rod tip. And I should be able to flick it because I've got overhang trees that's coming off the bank here, tree up high, lantana over there, which is an absolute pain in the backside. And I've got one slight gap, 5 foot wide, that's opening up into a fairly big hole. So I need to get my lure through that 5 foot wide gap and into that bigger pool. And this will allow it perfectly. Yep, nice fish, nice fish, nice fish. Hey mate, what a bass. Are you serious? That is amazing. Hey mate. That was a bit tricky, I tell you. I grabbed him in the mouth and the hook went in past the barb into my thumb. So I couldn't really talk to you then, so I've actually grabbed the fish and managed to pull the hook back out of my thumb. Kind of hurts, but anyway, as a lot of my mates would say, toughen up, birdie. Get rid of that hook, look at that. Support his weight again, he hasn't got much weight there, but a beautiful bass. What a lovely fish. Now the reason why I'm catching a lot of fish out of this little hole is quite simple. I'm not letting them go here. It's like if you're fishing for bream in a school, maybe around, it could be a marina, not generally allowed to fish in marinas, but if you're around the entrance to a marina, there's a school of bream, or maybe around a rock wall, you might pick up a couple, but if you're letting them go in the same spot, they're generally shut down. It goes for a lot of fish species, particularly mangrove jacks and Australian bass. Beautiful fish, look at that. Nice. I'm gonna let him go back in that pool and I'm gonna come back and have another cast. I'll be back. Oh my God, this is a big fish. Get out of that snag, mate. What a bat, oh no. He's got me on the trees. That's what they're gonna do. That's a big bass. Oh, he took my lure. So that bass, it was a monster. I'm gonna call it for mid-40s. An absolute crack of a fish. Now, you might be wondering, what's he gonna do with the lure now? Well, the fish, what he'll do is generally run up beside a snag, get another hook hooked up and shake it off. Mangrove jacks are a great fish to work off that theory. We've seen them before, get hooked up to a bait or a lure, and you've snapped them off and they go straight past the pylon and they just run back through it and it rips it out of their mouth and they're back to feeding normally again. I've seen bass do it before, and in that case there's a good opportunity for when I go back into that hole after a re-rig, I may even see that lure floating on the surface. The tackle that I'm running in the gear-wise, I'm running the X-Sense. This is the 2.5 to 3,000 model. I think those sizes there are ideal for this particular style of fishing. The Jewel, you know, I'm a phenomenal advocate of Jewel. I love these particular rods. 1 to 4 kilogram outfit. Okay, you don't want to go any heavier. You need that nice light tip to flick your lure around the corners here. You're going to bend it like Beckham to get around those corners into those holes. To practice doing that sort of stuff, what you need to do is practice at home. Don't come up here, you will lose a ton of lures. You'll then go marching through the trees and across the sticks, spook the fish, and it becomes a waste of time. So practice at home. Put a bucket on the driveway and just keep flicking it into that zone. Flick, flick, do 1,000 casts, whatever you need to do, and that's going to bring the fish onto your lure the next time you go out there, because it's all about precision. So the braid I'm running is Kairiki braid, and we're talking around about that 12-pound mark, which is more like around 4-pound fishing line. And the leader I'm running is light, okay? Normally in big dams and stuff like that, when you're after the real big 50 or 60 centimetre bass, you might run 20-pound braid and 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. But my leader here is only 6-pound. I want to keep it super light. I don't want to spook these fish. Now, the choice comes. What lure am I going to use? So I've got a variety of lures here that I'm going to make my decision on. I've got a frog, looks real. I haven't seen any frogs coming out of here yet, so I'm not going to worry about him. He looks great though. I've also got this Halco surface walker. These do really well. I think that would work exceptionally well. However, I like to get the lure moving on the top and then diving down. So that's a no. This is a cicada, like his wings. Again, I haven't seen any cicadas on the surface here, so that's a no for me. This one here looks like a guppy. I think that's a fantastic lure. That would work, I know that for a fact. So I think I'm going to give that one a go over this one here. He's going to give me a little bit more depth because of the size of the bib. You can see the two different sizes here, larger and smaller. This one here will stay about probably a foot under the surface. This one here will get down around 2 to 3 feet. But if I lift my rod tip a bit more, I can then bring that back up to a shallower diver of around 1 to 1.5 feet. And I think that's going to be essential. It's a very, very good lure, this one here. And of course that is the Xeric. So let's give that a crack. Yep, right up there. Come back to me, mate. Oh. Nice fish, nice bass. We've got that lure so far up in that neck of that pond, and this beauty came out. Oh my God. He came right out. I was just getting that lure gradually deeper and deeper into that hole, into the neck of where this pond goes to, right up into that big snag. And this lure went right down the throat and straight into this fish's mouth. Oh, it's okay. Look at that. I'd use this lure for a flathead. Oh, lure just literally fell out of its mouth. That's what I mean, is when these fish do get hooked up, they go past a snag, one of the hooks gets hooked up and the lure's easily taken out. And I'll tell you what, a great start to the day. Got to head off to work now. Just a couple of hours right around that dawn period. Just remember, there are different rules and regulations for individual states across the eastern seaboard of Australia. And wherever you are travelling, just make sure you check out the size and bag limits, and of course, no take times and no fish times for different species as well. And always remember neutral coloured clothes. Don't go bright orange, pink, blues, anything like that, because the fish will see you a country mile away and they'll shut down and spook. So nice start to the day. Here's a few tips to get you underway. Nice.
2 to 4 kilo spin combo's ideal. A variety of surface and subsurface lures, neutral coloured clothing when walking the banks. Remember, you don't want to be seen. Walk quietly upstream and cast before you reach the snag. Enjoy!
And of course, thanks for watching Step Outside YouTube channel for lots of cooking and fishing action. Like, subscribe, and of course comment for more catches like this and cooking recipes.